CBS 42's Road to the National Championship, presented by Pepsi.
All the speculation and the drama about the national championship maybe being postponed, well, that's over. Both Alabama and Ohio State have confirmed they will play this Monday night. Both teams have done their final round of COVID-19 testing. Ohio State might be a little short-handed, and that might be a nightmare for the Buckeyes defense because they got to defend the guy who won every major award out there this week. But will DeVonta Smith fall to the Heisman jinx? It's been a real thing the last 20 years. We'll dive deeper into that. Welcome into the Road to the National Championship. I'm Chris Brees. Why do superstar players like DeVonta want to come to Alabama every year? To win championships. And on Monday night, Nick Saban can make history. 6 national titles ties him with Bear Bryant for the most ever. Well, 7 would pass him. And how fitting would it be if that 7th win came against the Ohio State Buckeyes? Because you remember what happened the last time they played, right? The first ever semifinal game, 2014, the Sugar Bowl season. Ohio State scored 28 straight points. Bama quarterback Blake Sims got harassed. And if anyone knows what it feels like to have that pain, it is number 6 Blake Sims. I spoke with him today, and all that talk about Nick Saban saying 2014 means nothing to this roster, well, he's actually using that game to help them win this one.
The nightmare starts for number 1 Alabama. They are no more.
But I know for sure this game, the fact that we lost to them in the first playoff when I played, I know that his whole approach to this situation is very different. I know the way that he's talking to the team, the way his game speech is going to be. Every game they have went back after the game and studied mistakes that they have made in the previous game.
Sims, deep, Hail Mary, not answered, intercepted.
So they wouldn't get to the big games and make the same mistake, because this game right here is decided off a couple plays.
Fake to Najee Harris, and the quick strike to DeVonta Smith, and he is in for a touchdown.
I think it's going to take the leaders to set the tone on Monday and let everybody know, hey, this is what this game is. And there's no doubt that DeVonta Smith, Mac Jones, Waddle, all of them is letting them know, hey, let's do this for the guys that paved the way before us. I know they speaking it, and Coach Saban just keeping them humble and understand that, like, when you start the week off focus and you focus on the right thing, it'll lead to the game and it'll make the game that much easier.
Simone Eli now with us here live. Blake Sims never had the chance to redeem himself after that year. But hearing him say those guys play for the ones before them, that's what all these champions do, and that's what Ohio State wants to do too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, OSU has a huge chip on their shoulder, and Ryan Day said that when they beat Clemson. They said so many people doubted us. So many people think we should not be here because we only played 6 games so far, and they're here, and they have a point to prove, but Alabama's there as well. And like you just said, these guys play for the guys that came before them. And the 2017 class that are seniors now, they want to do just that. With COVID changing things all season, the college football playoffs have been no different. And instead of an on-site media days like we're used to year in and year out and fun activities, both teams held press conferences from their schools via Zoom. And with so many highs and lows in 2020, Nick Saban and Ryan Day know how much this year's championship will mean to the program.
We're pleased with the way this season has gone and the number of games we've been able to play, and the players having the opportunity to compete and now to culminate it with actually a playoff and a championship game.
Those teams are very, very excited to have this opportunity. This is something that we talked about early on, and then when the season was canceled, we talked about the opportunity to get back, or an opportunity to play in this very game, and here we are.
Winner of the Heisman Trophy is DeVonta Smith.
Well, it was cool for the Alabama fans at the basketball game the other night, watching on the Coleman Coliseum Jumbotron Tuesday as DeVonta Smith won the Heisman Trophy. By the way, Tide basketball on a hot streak right now, 3-0 to start their SEC schedule. The Slim Reaper, they call him, the wide receiver for the first time to win this award since 1991 in Desmond Howard. Mac Jones was 3rd, Najee Harris was 5th. And I don't think for a second that Smith is going to let that shiny trophy be a distraction on Monday night. You can guarantee that.
it was just a blessing just to be in that situation, to be with Mac and Coach Saban here last night. But now that's in the past, and now it's on to Ohio State.
So, do we expect a letdown from Smitty on Monday night? If it was up to him, it'd say no way, and he could follow these guys in winning a Heisman Trophy and still winning the national championship. Just 5 since 2009 have gone on to do that. You call it a jinx, but does it apply to Alabama? Not likely. They're 2-0, winning in 2009 with Mark Ingram and 2015 with Derrick Henry. And imagine if Jalen Waddle actually had a chance to play in this game too on Monday night. He did return to practice this week after what many people thought would be the end of his career at Alabama, that injury to his ankle late in October versus Tennessee. But Nick Saban stressed he could not commit to Waddle being available against Ohio State, saying it would be a game-time decision.
And it'll be the last hurrah for the guy who calls the plays for Waddle, Smitty, and all the guys on offense. Offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian was introduced as the new head coach at Texas this last week, and he continues the long tradition of coordinators leaving the Tide program for head coaching spots. He's the 6th to do so since 2011, with the team entering a national championship game. And that hasn't always ended up on the bright side for Alabama. Listen to Drew Carter in the newsroom. Drew, a mixed result for Alabama and Nick Saban when this happens.
Yeah, Simone, in that mixed bag are some of the most memorable games in college football history. Think about some of those years you just saw, and think about the games that ended those seasons. This is familiar territory for the Tide.
We've had several of these situations where we've had guys playing in the national championship game, and guys are getting head coaching jobs someplace else.
Jim McElwain calling the plays, hammering away at the clock right now. And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Finally, a touchdown between these two. On 3rd and 1, Henry again makes a cut off and running. The Heisman winner in the open field, headed for the end zone.
Freshman quarterback and a new offensive coordinator. What do you need to see from them to have success tonight?
Look, we have a good plan. We practiced it all week. It's time to go execute it.
Watson. Touchdown!
Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone. Touchdown! Alabama! Devontae Smith! Touchdown! Alabama!
3rd and row in 3 plays. It's intercepted. And the Tigers are going the other way. A.J. Terrell with a pick 6.
It's not been a distraction for us, and we're going to try to help manage it every way that we can so that it's not a distraction for us this year.
And what's interesting about Sark this year is he was on the other end of this situation back in 2016 when Lane Kiffin left the program the week before the championship. Sark stepped in as the interim OC. They scored 31 against Clemson, but they still lost. No need for an interim Monday. Sark is sticking around. Still ahead, it was the season that almost didn't happen. We rewind through the biggest games for the Crimson Tide and the Buckeyes coming up after this.
You're watching CBS 42's Road to the National Championship, presented by Pepsi.
Well, the only thing that could derail Alabama's perfect season, outside of Ohio State, of course, is a bit of bad luck. Since the playoffs started in 2014, only one #1 team has won the national championship. That was LSU last year. Bama is 0-3 in playoff games when they are the top seed. But this Alabama team, they just feel different than years past. A dominant and balanced offense combined with a talented defense that has only improved from week 1. And if you look back at their journey this season, there's no doubt Bama is clicking at the right time.
Sets. Gonna go deep. Got a man. Got it. Complete. John Mechie. Touchdown. Fires to the corner. Devontae Smith. Touchdown, Alabama.
Alabama will go to 8-0. And they have solidified their #1 in the country status, that's for sure.
Here's the throw. Najee Harris made a man miss. And touchdown, Alabama. They're not going to have time for another play. They can't get their players back. It's over. Alabama survives in a great SEC championship game in Atlanta. Big throw. Here is DeVonta Smith. Goodbye. Farewell. Touchdown. Hurdling is Harris. And now running down the sideline.
Can't tell you how proud I am of our players, our team, who earned the right to get in the national championship game.
And now to their challengers, the Ohio State Buckeyes, a college football blue blood that enters Monday night's game with a chip on its shoulder. 3 canceled games during the regular season almost derailed the Buckeyes' title hopes, but they made it count in the ones they did play.
From the legendary Horseshoe here in Columbus, Ohio, it's the Nebraska Cornhuskers coming to town to take on the 5th-ranked, world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes. And a run at Fields, tries to get outside. Spins, touchdown, Justin Fields. Fields looking, guns it, touchdown Wilson. Bada bing, bada boom. Ohio State smacks Indiana in the mouth, scoring in 2 plays. Deep man, they give it to him, he breaks it back. Trey Sermon, touchdown, Ohio State.
Doubted us going into this game, and these guys stuck together. They wanted a chance to come back and play. Now we got an opportunity to go win the whole thing.
We will see Monday night. Coming up next, the guy who's gone viral on social media for his epic Saban impersonations. Comedian Joey Molinaro channels his inner Saban one more time with our Drew Carter as we count down to the national title game. And later, from your Twitter feed straight to your TV, we're reaching deep into the college football mailbag one last time for the season. Stay with us.
You're watching CBS 42's Road to the National Championship, presented by Pepsi.
Well, Joey Molinaro has become a household name, especially in the SEC, because of his viral videos.
Our Drew Carter has a different kind of interview with a different kind of Nick Saban.
Just a few days out from the national championship between Alabama and Ohio State, and what a pleasure it is to be joined by Coach Nick Saban here on our road to the national championship. Coach, how you doing?
Well, man, I'm doing all right, I guess. So this is a requirement that I have to do to be able to join you guys on your TV programs and everything. But I got a football program to run, so if we could wrap this up as quickly as we can, I can get back to it, all right?
All right, Coach, we'll try to make this as brief as possible. You enter this game against Ohio State undefeated. It's been a spectacular season for your Crimson Tide. How proud are you of your team so far?
Well, I mean, you know, folks like yourself and people in the newspaper and on TV want to, you know, hype these guys up to be something that they're not yet. We haven't accomplished anything. All right. We've gotten to this point, but you're only as good as your next play. All right. So everybody can keep hyping them up and hyping them up. But remember a few years ago when we went out against Ohio State and they ran through our behinds like blank through a tin horn, man. I mean, you can't go out there and be hyping these guys up for something that they haven't even done yet. So, we're having a good season, I guess. We let Notre Dame hang around in the Cotton Bowl. I'm not too excited about it, but you know what? All we can do is go out there on Monday night, and if you guys would stop getting these guys in their heads and getting so hyped up and excited about them, then maybe we could go out there and do our job.
Well, Coach, I certainly appreciate the self-censor there, because I think we all knew what you wanted to say about how they ran through you. But another potential distraction is your offensive coordinator, Steve Sarkisian, is now the head coach at Texas, but he's still coaching this game against Ohio State. Is that a distraction for your team?
See, here's another thing that everybody wants to make out distractions to be something that they're not. Sark's going to do what Sark's got to do. I already passed on the Texas job a while back. Miss Terry didn't like the real estate out there in Austin. That's not my problem. I'm running the football program. What Sark's going to do is Sark's going to do. I know that our players are going to be ready. It's not going to be a big deal. So I'd appreciate if you just quit asking about Sark, all right?
All right, well, I think that's a perfect place to end the Nick Saban portion of this interview. And let's welcome our friend, Joey Molinaro of Barstool Sports. So, Joey, when you think back to the first time you did the Saban impression compared to today, are there any changes that you can pinpoint? How has the Saban impression evolved since that first time?
Well, I still like both sides. I still think green beans and mashed potatoes are good. I think that our family would enjoy both of them, all right? So
my first few, it was more on the lines of, all right, or, but now he hammers the I so much. So that's something I throw in there a lot.
I don't have time for this.
The hand motions and the shoulders are a big thing. You always have to be making a scene and bobbing your shoulders a little bit and getting, frustrated like that. So those are big things that I added in. But, yeah, I mean, it pretty much stays the same, man. It's like I just always think that he's he just got told that he has to pay like $420 to fix something minor on his car, and he's always just kind of ticked off. And that's the approach that I keep taking.
All right, that's Joey Molinaro. Amazing impression of Coach Nick Saban. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Hey, thanks, Drew. See you, man.
All right, plenty more to come right after this.
You're watching CBS 42's Road to the National Championship, presented by Pepsi.
If you think you can just call Nick Saban the coordinator kingmaker, because he's had a pretty good track record of making fired head coaches hireable again after a brief coordinator stint at Alabama. Steve Sarkisian, the latest rumors have him pegged for the disgraced NFL head coaching jobs.
Yeah, when we reach into the Twitter mailbag here, the two guys that everyone's talking about right now as possible Sark replacements are Bill O'Brien and Adam Gase. And here's what we got on Twitter from Spin Griffey. He tweets, quote, the Nick Saban rehab program. O'Brien, as a coach, was fine. Adam Gase shouldn't be allowed any type of football job with Bama. So obviously fans going to give their opinions on, but they also complain about Steve Sarkisian getting the job.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Sarkisian, McElwain, Kiffin, they all struggled as head coaches at one point.
Yeah.
They come to Alabama with all the talent. They can do what they want, open everything up.
Yeah.
People hate Gase because of the Jets. I get that, but it does not matter to me who becomes the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the underlying factor in every single year of success is Nick Saban.
Yeah.
So he's the head honcho. Everybody else just does what he says.
They've got Bryce Young next year. They've got Brian Robinson next year. They got Trey Sanders next year.
Yep.
I think they're going to be just fine. We'll see you Monday afternoon live from Miami for the national championship, Alabama and Ohio State.